Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Melissa Lucio was given the death penalty in Texas for killing her baby. What if she is innocent? 2 days before her life was scheduled to end, Melissa Lucio could only wait and pray as a court considered whether her execution should proceed as planned. She had already spent more than a decade on death row in Texas after being convicted of killing her 2-year-old daughter, Mariah. For years, Ms Lucio's supporters argued her case was fundamentally flawed, citing failures by police and the courts at every possible turn. And in a rare show of unity, backers of the death penalty joined their political opponents, as well as advocates and celebrities, in calling for her death by lethal injection to be stopped. That request has been granted, at least for now, with a Texas court issuing a last-minute stay of execution earlier this week. But Ms Lucio's legal battle is far from over, and the broader questions it raises about the U.S. justice system may never be resolved. The death of baby Mariah Melissa Lucio grew up in poverty in the Rio Grande Valley, not far from the Mexico border. She got married at the age of 16, hoping to escape from a childhood in which she suffered repeated sexual assault. Instead, she was allegedly subjected to further violence by 2 partners. By 2007, Ms Lucio was raising 12 children while pregnant with twins. The family had been through bouts of homelessness as she grappled with substance abuse. At times, she temporarily lost custody of some of her children, but her lawyers insist she was never abusive towards them. According to her clemency application, Ms Lucio was packing up to move house on February 15 when she found Mariah crying at the bottom of an external flight of stairs. Ms Lucio said she suspected her daughter may have fallen, but she seemed relatively unharmed. 2 days later, at their new house, the toddler went down for a nap and lost consciousness. One of the paramedics who attended the scene noted it was odd Ms Lucio mentioned the stairs, given he had arrived at a single-story building with only 3 steps. Doctors also noticed extensive bruising on Mariah's body and passed their observations on to police. Hours after Mariah's death, Ms Lucio was escorted from the hospital to an interrogation room where she was eventually charged with capital murder. Did a lifetime of trauma lead to a false confession? Sandra Babcock, a professor at Cornell Law School who later joined Ms Lucio's defense team, said her client's traumatic history was ignored during the gruelling questioning. Melissa's case is kind of a textbook example of the police making a series of blunders that were based on gendered assumptions about how a grieving mother should behave, Ms Babcock told the ABC. She has post-traumatic stress disorder from her child's sexual abuse and domestic violence, and she was experiencing all of the symptoms of trauma, numbness, dissociation. And the police misinterpreted those reactions. They had in mind that a grieving woman would be in hysterics. In court, prosecutors claimed Ms Lucio had abused her daughter, pointing to bruising across Mariah's body and a fractured arm. But her new lawyers argue crucial evidence was omitted from the trial. They say her death was caused by internal injuries suffered during the fall, and that the accident also resulted in a blood clotting disorder that would explain the bruises. They also say the state's medical examiner failed to consider that Mariah had trouble walking due to a turned-in foot and had shown signs of excessive sleep and a loss of appetite, behavior consistent with head trauma after a fall, in the days before she died. Ms Lucio claimed her innocence more than 100 times during 5 hours of aggressive police questioning, before eventually stating, "I guess I did it." These were the kinds of tactics that really for anyone, were likely to elicit a false confession, Ms Babcock said. But for someone like Melissa, who has become practiced at acquiescing to abusive men, it was practically foreordained that she would ultimately capitulate and tell them what they wanted to hear. And that is exactly what happened. Even ardent death penalty supporters are shaken. The plight of Ms Lucio, now 53, has elicited rare bipartisanship from Texas politicians. More than half of the members of the state's House of Representatives, many of whom firmly back capital punishment, signed a letter to the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles calling for her life to be spared. Among them was Republican State Representative Jeff Leach, who told The Guardian, "I am not ashamed to say I believed in the death penalty for the most heinous cases. But this case is shaking my confidence in the system." His party colleague, Representative James White, also signed the letter and visited Ms Lucio in prison. "I am a supporter of the death penalty," he told the ABC. "But I believe it has to be done constitutionally. I